Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I'm Bob DiStefano, and I help industrial companies like yours turn their websites into lead generation machines. Now, lead generation is the lifeblood of companies. If you do not have strong lead flow, you are at a disadvantage and your company's future is at risk. And the good news is that your website is probably your best lead generator. So what I'm going to be doing today is going through best practices on how you can turn your website into a lead generation machine without a website redesign. Now, the reality is that most industrial websites for manufacturers and distributors, they look decent. They have a good design, but quietly they're losing business every day. And it's not because they don't have traffic. Many websites have plenty of traffic to turn into new business, but their websites lack the trust to convert visitors into real sales conversations. So what I'm going to be doing today is walking you through some best practices on how you can turn your website into your best salesperson. I'll be walking you through 7 simple fixes that you can make that don't require a full website redesign to turn your website into a tool that actually drives leads, shortens sales cycles, and supports your sales team. Now, I'd like to get an understanding of who we have here in the audience. I know we have both manufacturers and distributors, but I'd like to really tailor our talk towards you. If you're a manufacturer, if you could put M in the chat. If you are a distributor, if you could put a D. And if you're a B2B service provider, just put a B, just so I can get an understanding. Okay, so you're probably wondering why I am talking with you today and why I'm qualified. Well, I have been helping industrial companies like yours solve this very problem for 30 years. I'm a trusted advisor to industrial associations like STAFTA. I'm their endorsed consultant. I also contribute to a variety of publications that you probably read, like Modern Distribution Management and MDM. And I have helped hundreds of industrial companies, manufacturers, distributors, sales rep organizations, and B2B service providers grow their leads, sales, and profits online. And what I'll be doing today is walking you through the best practices that will help you produce these great results. Now, let's start by talking about what is a real lead. Leads are extremely important for organizations because, like I said, they are your lifeblood. But not all traffic is created equal. Not all traffic will result in leads for you. So when somebody lands on your website, the first thing that we need to do is we need to engage them. We need to have them stick around. We need to have them be interested in our content, be interested in what we have to offer so that they spend time, explore, and then hopefully decide that you are the company that they want to reach out to, and then they become a lead. They show some action and take interest. And this is the cycle that most industrial companies follow. They are focused on getting visitors to the site, trying to get more traffic. They're trying to create websites that are engaging and trying to get those leads. But in many cases, the leads aren't really true leads. A lead needs to be a qualified lead to build your business. They need to be your ideal customer profile. They need to be a perfect fit for what you're offering, and they need to be ready to take action and work with you so that you can pass over those qualified leads to your salespeople so they can have those engaging sales conversations to close the deal. So what I'm going to be doing today is focusing on some ways that you can enhance your website's design so that you can get more of those qualified leads that result in those sales conversations. So what I'll be walking through are the 7 trust building fixes that you can implement that will help you generate more leads on your website. And they will focus on 3 key areas. First is clarity and action. The first 2 fixes are we want to first say what you do clearly and upfront. The second fix is we want to fix your broken calls to action that will get people to take that next step. Then we're going to focus on the trust and proof factors, why people can feel that you're reliable and they should want to do business with you by focusing on these three fixes: showing people behind the scenes, adding social and performance proof, and speaking your customer's language. And then finally, the conversion momentum. Two fixes that will focus on getting people to convert from anonymous visitors into those named individuals ready to speak with you about new business. Fix number 6 is answer what they're thinking. What are the questions that are on their minds? And then fix number 7, let's make it easy for them to take that next step and reach out to you. So I'll be going through these 7 fixes. I will also be stopping for questions at the end. So at any time during this presentation, please submit your questions into the Q&A box. I will be addressing them at the end. Also, don't feel that you need to write down anything that you're seeing on the screen right now. You can get these handouts easily. I shared the link in the webinar chat. Also, it is possible for you to scan a QR code that's on the screen to get those slides. So let's dig in. Okay, fix number 1 is to say what you do clearly up front. Now, most industrial websites confuse their visitors because their website really isn't communicating what they do, who they are, how they can help, and why they should be considered as the trusted partner to do business with. Their website looks something like the PES site here. It's fantastic site design. I love the site in so many ways, but its language is not communicating its true value to customers. It's using generic language. There's no clear value proposition. The headlines say nothing about who you help or what you do. Perhaps they're using generic or overused language like innovative solutions. These old words all sound good, but they really mean nothing without true context as to how you can help customers be more effective. There's no immediate relevance to buyers. If your headline doesn't reflect the true problem that they're trying to solve, or not speaking to their specific industry or to the specific applications of your products or services, they won't stick around. They're going to go find a competitor that's going to serve them better. Or perhaps it just takes too long to understand. They don't have the time to read all of the content that's on your website to understand what you do. You need to make sure that you're passing the 5-second test. In 5 seconds, can someone that has no idea who you are have a good understanding of the problem you solve, who you solve it for, and what is that next step that they can take? So the fix is you basically want to write your website copy and say it the same way that your salespeople would. Say it the same way that they would speak to their prospects when they're engaging with them on the phone or via Zoom conversation or a live conversation. Be specific about what you do. You want to skip the slogan, say exactly what you make, what you deliver, what you solve. You can see here on the Dymar Tech website, the messaging that you're using on the homepage is much more clear. We have a good understanding of what they do, who they serve, and some ways that we can drill down deeper into the site itself. Call out specifically who you help. Make sure your ideal customer sees themselves in your messaging. They need to feel that, this company understands me. This company is here to provide me exactly what it is that I'm looking to find. They're here to solve the problem that I have. You want to make sure that you highlight a real benefit or outcome. Explain how your product or service makes life easier, safer, faster, or cheaper. They want to understand why that they should be engaging with you, why they should be reaching out to you. And do all of this using plain, confident language. Write just like your best sales rep talks. No buzzwords, no fluff. You want to use a conversational tone so that your website is extremely engaging. So, to apply this fix on your website, I want you to go through this self-assessment to make sure that you have clear messaging. First, does your headline clearly say what you do and who you help. We want to make sure that we have a very good, strong headline that speaks directly to our ideal customer. Next, is the benefit or outcome obvious within 5 seconds or less? Are you passing that 5 second test? Do you avoid buzzwords and are you focusing on clarity? We want to make sure that we're using plain language, again, the same language that your salespeople use when they're explaining. We want to make sure that your message is completely clear. And this clear message needs to be presented above the fold before people need to scroll, especially when they're on your homepage. So make sure that people can see this obvious, clear messaging above the fold. And then finally, read your website's copy. Read it out loud. Does your copy sound like a salesperson, not a slogan? I like it when copy is written in a conversational style. It's much more engaging, and you will generate more leads as a result. Okay, next, let's go on to the second fix. We want to fix your broken calls to action. Calls to action are the offers that you're presenting in front of people. They're the carrots that you're dangling in front of people to take that next step. And too many companies rely on their contact us page as the primary method for generating leads and inquiries. And if you are doing this, you are leaving money on the table. If you're relying on contact us as your lead generation strategy, you're basically providing a dead end to prospects. You'll get a few, but you're not going to get the most engaged. Most calls to action that are on websites do not get clicks because they're too vague or generic. Buyers don't know what's going to happen next as a result of clicking that call to action or completing it, which creates hesitation in their minds. Perhaps you're asking for too much too soon, too much of a commitment. Not everybody that's on your website is ready for a sales conversation. Many people are performing research, they're kicking tires, they're just trying to gain an understanding of what it is that you have to offer and how you can help them. So your calls to action need to be not just for sales-ready prospects, but also for those tire kickers so that you can build a marketing database that you can use for nurturing activities. Next, maybe there's no clear value in clicking. Contact us just doesn't explain what they're going to get or why it matters to them. So you want to make sure that your calls to action have clear value or they don't match the buyer's intent. Think about what a buyer would want to do next when they're on any key page that's on your website, and tailor the calls to action so they speak to the best intent for that particular page. A one-size call to action will just miss the needs of those early stage buyers, and you won't generate enough inquiries as a result. So the fix, you want to use very specific, very helpful, low friction calls to action. So the best practices are give people a clear and low commitment next step. Most buyers aren't ready to talk to sales, but they're willing to explore or learn more. So you want to make sure that you're providing those early stage calls to action. Download specifications, download a guide, compare models. Those are all examples of those low commitment calls to action that those early stage people will take advantage of. They will give up their basic contact information in exchange for this information, but it's low threat. They're not expecting to have to speak with a salesperson. Next, you want to make it about them, not you. Again, we want to think about the buyer intent. Why are they on your website? Why would they be on a particular page on the website? And what calls to action can we offer them that they would be interested in? Good calls to action answer buyer questions and don't just push your agenda of generating leads and building sales. Next, you want to make sure that the benefit of clicking those buttons is obvious. So you can see here, these buttons, they're not saying generic phrases like learn more, take action. They are specific to what people will get or the benefit that they will receive as a result of clicking on that call to action. So show them that they'll get a quote, their specification, a checklist, a comparison, whatever it is, communicate that benefit, not just in the button, but also in the text that's introing that call to action. And you want to make sure that you sound like a helpful guide. Every customer that's trying to solve a problem, they're looking for a guide that's going to lead them to the solution. So skip the slogans, say what's going to happen next, make it clear, say it confidently, and show people that you are there to help them. So the self-assessment to fix your broken calls to action, take a look at your website, take a look at the different ways that you are getting people to take that next step. Hopefully you're already using something other than the Contact Us page. And take a look at the various ways that you're getting people to reach out. Do they clearly explain what happens next? Take a look at the copy, take a look at the buttons. You want to make sure that you're communicating that. Are you offering more than just one call to action? Or are you offering various calls to action that speak to the early stage people that are performing research and the sales ready people? Are you offering different calls to action based on the page that people are on? Again, you want to make sure they're tailored to the content and to that buyer intent. Are you offering low friction options for the early stage visitors? Too many industrial companies handicap themselves by just offering request a quote, which is fantastic for the people that are ready for that buying decision or sales discussion. But as I said before, the vast majority of people on your site are performing research, but we want to provide low friction calls to action that will convert those early stage visitors into named individuals for your marketing database. Are you communicating a clear benefit of clicking? Is there a good reason why people should be taking that next step? And do those calls to action match the buyer intent? They're on your site for a reason. Do your calls to action speak to that reason and provide them the next step? Or are you just pushing your own goals? You want to make sure that you're addressing their needs to get them to take action. Okay, next, show people behind the scenes. A lot of times when I first speak with clients, they're a little hesitant about this. They have a great looking website, great content, great calls to action, but it seems like a generic site. They don't really see who they're going to be working with. When people are on a website, they're basically checking you out. They're trying to evaluate whether or not you are a company they should be doing business with. And they're not going to be doing business with this entity, the company. They're going to be doing business with real people. They're going to be speaking with a salesperson. They're going to be working with a customer service or implementer on a regular basis. So let's present those people. If you're not presenting people on your site who they're going to be working with, you're not establishing trust. Buyers can't see who they're dealing with, and that will create concern, and that will stand in the way of them reaching out. If you don't show your people, you look less credible. Your site hides the people behind your company, and it feels anonymous and risky. And your site looks like a placeholder, not a partner. A lot of times companies will feel, okay, we'll show some imagery and they grab some stock photography of some great looking people working on a project, but people don't want to see that. They want to see real people. Uh, it's not worth trusting when they see stock photography. They can tell. They're making a big decision to work with you. Let's show them exactly who they're going to be working with. So the fix is to show the real people behind the scenes. If you don't have pictures of your people, start taking them. If you have a contemporary smartphone, you have a fantastic photography studio in your pocket or purse. So start taking pictures behind the scenes of your plant, of your facility, of the people they're going to be working with. You may want to invest in having a photographer come in and spend half a day walking around your organization taking those shots. Those shots will be extremely valuable for you to make your site more engaging and help you generate more leads. So use real photos of your team. Include bios that build trust. Highlight their experience, their values, their industry credibility, not just their job titles, and show behind the scenes content and show it in photography, but also show it in videos. You want to share team photos, share blog posts, share videos. You want to humanize your brand. Many times when I speak with industrial companies, I'll take a look at what they're doing on their website and on social media. And I take a look at their Facebook business page. And it's fantastic because they are using their Facebook business page to showcase their company culture, the events that they're holding, their customer appreciation day, someone's birthday, an event that they're having internally, or some appreciation event. but they're not showcasing that information on their website. You want to show it on your website as well because it's the most public face of your company. You want to make sure that you're showing the people that they will be working with so you can generate more leads. So the self-assessment, are you showing real photos of your team or just stock images? If it's just stock, you want to put real photos up. Do your bios highlight expertise, values, and personality? If they don't, you want to write them. Interview key people within your company. Let's understand who they are so that you can highlight that information on your site. Can visitors easily see who they'll be working with? So you don't want to just show your executive team, show the actual hands-on people that they're going to be working with on a daily basis. Use content to humanize your brand, and video content is fantastic for that. Make your blog posts authored by people within your company. The more you can humanize your company, the more engaging it will be, the more realistic it will be in terms of the people they're going to be working with, and the more leads you will generate. And think of it, would a new visitor feel like they're dealing with real people or a faceless company when they're looking at your site? If it seems like a faceless company, you need to address it by showing real people. Okay, number 4, add social proof and performance proof. What social proof is are there other people, their peers, have they worked with you before and have they had a fantastic experience? And have they shared that experience by providing you with a testimonial, either text or video testimonial? Did they rate your company on Google? Did they rate your company on Trustpilot or one of the other sites? Those are all examples of social proof, and they are extremely important because buyers are skeptical. They're not going to believe your claims that you're making on your website unless you can back up those claims with social proof. If they can see that other customers in the same boat that they're in with the same situation are extremely satisfied in working with you, if they don't see that, they're not going to reach out. So buyers are looking for proof, not promises. They want to see those reviews. They want to see results. They want to see certifications that you received, not just empty marketing claims. And if you're making vague claims with generic content, it's going to raise flags and buyers will walk away. If you're getting a lot of traffic and you're not getting leads and inquiries and you've already addressed the first fixes I've talked about, you want to take a look at your social proof because this stands in the way and this is a silent killer of lead generation in many cases. So the fix is to add social proof to earn trust. You want to show that people trust you by encouraging reviews and testimonials. Get your best customers to submit testimonials to you that you can publish to your website. Those testimonials can be text-based testimonials, just a quick comment, and you don't want it to be a generic comment like, oh, they're great to work with. The best question to ask a customer to get a great testimonial is, what changed as a result of doing business with us? If you phrase the question that way, you're going to get a testimonial that's based on outcomes, that's based on results. Those are the testimonials that resonate most with prospects. In addition to text testimonials, perhaps you want to get video testimonials. They're even more engaging. Your salespeople can record video testimonials when they're calling on customers. They can be recorded on Zoom. They can be recorded with their camera when they're visiting a customer's site. Video testimonials are fantastic because you're actually seeing the person speak directly to you. And as I mentioned, you want to show results, not just promises. So you want to speak directly to results that you're helping your customers produce. So in addition to customer testimonials, case studies are fantastic proof pieces that you can publish to your site. Before and after, this is the situation that the customer was in. This is the solution that we brought to the table. And here are the results that they were able to produce, and have specific measurable results, quantifiable results that you can point to. They will resonate best. And make your social proof easy to find. A lot of times industrial companies will handicap themselves by putting their testimonials on a testimonial section within the About Us section. That's great to have it there, but you're hiding it in that silo. What you want to do is pepper your testimonials throughout your website on pretty much every page that's on your site. so that people can see as they're learning more about how you can help them. Here's another customer in the same situation that I'm in, and here are the great results that they help them produce. It will help you generate more leads. So, to build your social proof, go through this self-assessment. Do your key pages include real testimonials and reviews that show trust? If they don't, you want to strategically place the testimonials throughout your website. It is the best way for you to get more um, uh, leads by showing those testimonials on those key product and service pages. In addition, you want to be able to show case studies and outcomes that showcase real results. What you want to do is publish those case studies on a regular basis, um, understand what the outcomes are that you're helping that customer produce, and using those case studies not only on your website, but also in your sales communication. As your salespeople are calling on prospects, in addition to leaving behind brochures or catalogs, leave behind case studies. They are fantastic sales pieces that you can use to generate that social proof. Can visitors quickly spot social proof at a glance? Are you hiding it on your website, or is it readily available on key pages that are on your site? In addition, are your trust signals buried within a testimonial section of the site? And would skeptical buyers feel confident after they visit your site? If you are not getting that feel, you want to make sure that you are punching up that social proof throughout your site. Okay, fix number 5. You want to make sure that you are speaking your customer's language. Um, Too many times, companies are used to speaking the way that they speak internally. They're using company speak, they're using internal jargon, which just kills clarity and kills leads. If you are confusing prospects with the language that you're using on your site, you are getting in the way. You're not providing them with that engaging experience that they would need to take that next step. Perhaps your content is too technical and too early in the process, and visitors are getting lost in those specifications before they understand the true value that you're providing through your solution. Perhaps your copy is loaded with internal company speak, and buyers just don't understand the internal terms that you're using, and they're not going to take the time to figure them out. If they can't understand the solution that you're providing because you're not speaking their language, they're going to go find a competitor that can help them. Or perhaps your copy just sounds like everyone else. It sounds like every other company that's out there providing the same products, same services, or same solution. Generic copy makes it hard for prospects to tell you apart, and you want to make sure that you are communicating a strong differentiation. And this is extremely important, especially for distributors, where you are selling essentially the same products as all of your competitors. But there's a reason why people choose to do business with you, and it's not just because you have the right products at the right price. It's because you have the specialized knowledge that allow people to take that next, allow people to be more effective in using your products. So you want to lead with that differentiation in your website's copy so that you are not sounding like every other competitor that's out there to serve them. So the fix is to use the buyer-friendly language. Um, think about the way that your buyers would normally speak about your products. What are the common ways that your salespeople are engaging with customers? What are the questions that customers are asking? What is the way that they're phrasing their solution or phrasing the need that they're trying to address? And then use those buyer-friendly phrases in your copy so that you are mirroring how customers describe their challenges and their goals. You want to start with what matters most to them. You want to lead with the outcomes, not the technical specifications. A lot of times people focus too much on their website in their features and benefits, but not necessarily the results or the outcomes that a customer will achieve by doing business with them. So understand what matters most to your customers. Start with that information and make sure you're leading with that outcome, not just the technical specifications. And make sure that it's easy to scan and understand. Um, Take a look at your website's content. Take a look at the pages that you're presenting. How are you presenting that content? Is it broken into easily digestible chunks, short paragraphs with clear headlines, simple words, using bullet points where it makes sense? Or is each page like a thesis that takes a lot of time to read, a lot of time to engage with, and will in most cases be ignored, and people will just move right on to a competitor that's much more understandable. So what I like to do is show website pages to colleagues that may or may not be in your business, may or may not understand the solution you're providing, and ask them, is it easy to understand the problem we solve, the customer we serve, and the outcomes that we produce? If you're hearing that your site is not understandable, you're missing out on strong lead generation opportunities. So you want to make sure that you are using that buyer-friendly language throughout your site. So fix number 5, to generate more leads without a complete redesign, make sure that your website's copy is speaking your customer's language. So the self-assessment, do you use the same language as your buyers use in sales calls? So as I recommended, speak to your salespeople to understand what are the key phrases, what are the ways that the buyers describe their problems. Some companies are using tools like CallRail to uh, record sales conversations. If you are using any type of tool like that, you can take a look at transcripts and see what are the phrases that our customers are using. Any way that you can figure out what those key phrases are, you want to make sure that you're using them in your website's copy. Is your copy easy for a first-time visitor to understand in 5 seconds? That's why I ask you to get a colleague that may not understand your company. Does your site pass the 5-second test? Do they have that good understanding of what it is that you have to offer? Have you replaced internal jargon with clear buyer-friendly terms? Extremely important. If you're using that internal language that your buyers don't use regularly, then you are creating an unnecessary roadblock from getting that lead. Take a look at your headlines. Are your headlines focusing on benefits or outcomes, or is it just stating what they're going to find lower on the page? You want to make sure your headlines are action-oriented, speak to the benefit or outcome, and are not just, this is what you can find below, or overly technical. And would a non-technical decision maker instantly get what you do? You want to make sure that your website is understandable, not just by the end user of your product who may understand all of that language that you're putting up there, but in some cases they are delegating that procurement research process to an underling or to a procurement department that may or may not have that same level of understanding of the technical jargon that you use. Make sure that it's understandable to a non-technical decision maker that may be involved in the process so that you will generate more leads. Okay, fix number 6, answer what they're thinking. Buyers often leave your website with a question that was not answered. Unanswered questions will create doubt. If a buyer has a concern that isn't addressed in your website's copy, don't assume that they're going to reach out to you and ask that question. They're just not going to stick around. They're going to leave. People just don't ask. It's too easy for them to bounce away. So you want to understand what those key questions are and address them in your copy. Sales objections start online before they even speak with your salesperson. So if your salespeople hear common questions or common objections when they're having those sales conversations, you want to make sure that you are addressing those answers up front. A book that I recommend that you get your hands on is a book by Marcus Sheridan called They Ask, You Answer. The premise of the book is all about your customers are coming to your website because they have key questions that they're trying to answer, and Marcus details what those key questions are. You want to make sure that you're addressing those questions in your website's copy so that you're providing people exactly what it is that they're looking for. So what are the common questions that they're asking? Common questions that they're asking have to do with your process, have to do with your price, have to do with what other companies you've helped, or those specific details about your products or the solution that they're looking for. Find out what those common questions are from your salespeople. Find out what they are from your customer service people. Do your own research. And don't bury these in a frequently asked questions section of your site. You want to pepper these throughout your website's copy. Write blog posts that are dedicated to each individual question. You want to address these recurring concerns. I mentioned before that video content is extremely important, and also showcasing your team members is extremely important. Here's a fix. Ask your team members to record a quick video to answer a common customer question. Create a new video for each question. It's great content that can address this fix and also address the people fix at the same time. So think about what those common doubts are that block those conversions. Like I said before, pricing, compatibility, lead times, service concerns, whatever those common questions are, address them in your copy. And when you're writing it, write it with confidence. Buyers want to feel informed and supported, not confused and uncertain. So showcase that you have a very good understanding of the needs and concerns that your customers have. Address it in your content, and you will generate more leads. So the self-assessment to answer their questions. Have you asked your sales and support teams what questions buyers ask most? If you have not, do this today. Send an open-ended question to your salespeople and support teams. We're trying to make our website more engaging. What are the common questions that you hear most often from prospects and from existing customers? Get a complete list of those questions and do this on a regular basis. You'll have a great list of items that you should be addressing in your website's copy to address those key areas. Do your key pages answer those questions? Don't bury those questions and answers in a frequently asked questions page. Address them on the key pages, product and service pages throughout your site. Do you address the common objections before they're raised? There are reasons why people choose to not do business with you, and they will not always tell you, but your salespeople know because they're hearing these objections on a regular basis. Let's step out ahead of it and let's address those common objections in your website's copy before they're raised. And you can do that in your frequently asked questions section, your blog posts, in your in-page answers on your product or service pages. Reduce that doubt by addressing those questions directly. And ask yourself, would a buyer feel informed enough to convert without calling? We don't want to have to assume that people are going to have to reach out to ask more questions before they have a sales conversation. Let's address absolutely everything up front. If people are reaching out to you and asking questions, let's take a look at that question. Is that copy we should be putting on our site? If you have online chat, are they asking certain questions frequently in online chat? If they are, let's add that content to the site so that we can get them to convert without having to call. Okay, and fix number 7, make it easy to take that next step so that we can convert those anonymous visitors into named individuals, named leads. So there's a reason why visitors don't take action, and it's generally because they're confused in some way. If you have addressed all of the fixes, the 6 fixes that I just talked about, and you're still not getting those leads, it's because people don't know what to do. They're confused. There's no clear next step. They hit a dead end, or they're unsure of what to do next. Perhaps it's because you're relying on that contact us page. Buyers need options. And as I mentioned before, not everyone is ready for a quote. According to research, about 3 to 5% of your website's visitors actually have a purchase intent in mind at that moment. The other 95 to 97%, they are kicking tires, they're performing research. So you want to make sure that you're providing calls to action that speak to the needs of these early stage buyers. So if you're just offering contact us or talk to sales or request a quote, These are too high of a commitment for those early stage visitors. So the 95 to 97% of people that are on your site are going to click away and you'll never hear from them. They need those options for those early stage research people. And your calls to action need to speak to the intent or stage in the buying process that your buyers have. Think about the different stages of the buyer's journey: um, awareness, consideration, and decision. Awareness, people are becoming aware of the problem that you're trying to solve. Consideration, they're trying to consider what their options are for them to solve those problems. And then decision, they're trying to decide who it is that they want to do business with. You need to make sure that you have calls to action that speak to the needs of prospects at each stage of the buying cycle. Early stage people would be interested more in content pieces. Late stage people, they are ready to speak to a salesperson. So let's make that very obvious. The key is to speak to all buyers. So you want to guide your prospects to that next step extremely clearly. So as I mentioned before, multiple calls to action that speak to the different stages of the buying cycle based on the readiness of the prospect. You want to make sure the calls to action are clear, speak to the stage that they're at, and the intent that they're trying to achieve. You want to use action-oriented language in your calls to action. You don't want your calls to action, the buttons that they click, to be submit. You don't want them to be um, take action. You want them to be more specific to the outcome that people are looking for. So in the example here in this optimized form, this is all about getting a free software demo. So let's make the button say, get a free demo. Make those calls to action specific. And remove the frictions from the forms. As you can see here on the right-hand side, this not optimized form is asking for way too many fields for that prospect to complete, way too much information to read, and way too confusing of a CAPTCHA message to make sure they're not getting any spam form inquiries. Make your forms easy to understand. When people see that not optimized form, it's as daunting as a tax return, and they're going to move right on. Make your forms engaging, make them look easy to complete, and you will get more leads. So your self-assessment to fix your forms, fix your calls to action so that you can guide prospects to take that next step. First, is there a clear and relevant next step on every key page of your website? Don't just have a page that you're assuming people are going to read it, and then they're going to go to another page where they're going to see a call to action that they're going to engage with. No, every single page on your site should have a clear and relevant next step and a very obvious and compelling call to action that people can take advantage of. Are you offering low commitment calls to action for early stage buyers? I can almost guarantee that the majority of you on this call are making this mistake. You are providing calls to action that speak to people that are ready to buy, but not necessarily those early stage calls to action for people that are just kicking tires and performing research. So offer downloadable guides, offer demos, offer ask an expert question and answer sessions. So you're looking for ways that you can get those early stage people to convert from anonymous visitors into named individuals. You want to make sure your calls to action are action-oriented and benefit-driven. As I mentioned before, make sure that they are speaking to the outcome or benefit that they will achieve by taking advantage of them. Make your forms short by removing any unnecessary fields. Every single field that you put in front of prospects, it's an additional step you're asking them to take, and it's an additional step that's going to get in the way of your lead or of your conversion. So short forms that are easy to complete will generate more leads. And can buyers quickly see what to do next without scrolling or guessing? Don't put your calls to action at the bottom of every page on your site. They will get lost. If people don't scroll down to the bottom, they will not see everything. So pepper your calls to action throughout the page in logical spots so that buyers can easily see what to do next without scrolling or guessing. So these are the 7 fixes to help you generate more leads on your website without a redesign. But I don't want to end there. I want to address a bonus fix, which is extremely important because so many companies are making this mistake. They're generating leads on their website, but their leads are just dying after they convert. They're not turning into sales opportunities. The whole point of generating leads is you want more sales. So you need to address this fix as well so that you can make sure that those leads that you're generating are converting into customers. So there's a reason why the handoff to salespeople fails with leads. Marketing is focused on generating leads, and salespeople are responsible for closing those leads, turning those leads into new customers. And the handoff is failing because sales are starting cold. The sales reps in some cases don't know what the lead saw on your website. They don't know what they've downloaded with. They don't know what content they've engaged with. They don't know what they've asked about. So when they're making that follow-up, they're flying blind. They're not asking the right questions based on the engagement that the prospect already had with your website. Perhaps the salesperson is reaching out to them too soon. So you're pushing a sales discussion on that prospect too early. Um, Marketing qualified leads, people that are just asking for your downloaded guides and your early stage offers are being handed off to salespeople before they're ready for that discussion. And they're ignoring your salespeople and they're going silent. So you're not teeing up your salespeople for success by giving them leads that are just too cold. Or perhaps your salespeople do not have the right tools to guide the conversation. Marketing should be creating useful tools and content that sales reps can use during the entire sales process to nurture that prospect through the buying cycle of helping them understand the problem, helping them figure out the right solution, and that they're the right company to work with. Provide them with those tools so that they can lead with value at every stage of that discussion. So the problem is that a lot of industrial companies are generating leads and they're calling them all leads. And they're not. Not all leads are ready for sales. There are two types of leads that you're generating. Marketing qualified leads, or MQLs, for those early stage prospects that are kicking tires and performing research, and sales qualified leads that are ready to have a sales conversation. They're ready to talk about doing business with you. So you need to make sure that your calls to action are focusing on generating both marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads, and you're categorizing them appropriately so that you know what to do with them. Marketing qualified leads should be entered into a marketing funnel to nurture those leads. They shouldn't go right to a salesperson for a follow-up. They should go into a nurturing sequence, a marketing automation sequence, so that you're sending out relevant content on a regular basis that complements whatever they downloaded or whatever they engaged with, that will allow you to keep your company in their mind, further people along in the sales process, and have each one of those touches pepper them with a call to action. Sales qualified leads, they're ready for a sales discussion. So we want to make sure those sales leads get to a salesperson as quickly as possible. You want to catch that person on your website if possible, because if you can do that, the salesperson can use your website as a presentation tool. So to figure out the difference between the two, if you're trying to decide for your company, marketing qualified leads, these are people that are just researching or learning. They're early stage people that are gathering information. They're not ready to talk to sales. They've downloaded the guide. They've engaged with content in some meaningful way. Again, they are not ready. Let's nurture them. Sales qualified leads, they're ready to discuss a purchase. They've requested a quote. They've requested a sales call, and they've met your qualification criteria. They match your ideal customer profile. These are the sales ready leads. Let's get these in the hands of your salespeople as quickly as possible. So you can support both by offering the right calls to action at the right time. The calls to action to generate marketing qualified leads for people that are still learning or researching, give them calls to action like download a guide, compare products, watch a demo, whatever that would be. What we're trying to do is give the people that are kicking tires a way to take that next step so we can convert those tire kickers into a marketing qualified lead that we can nurture on a regular basis. Sales qualified leads ready to talk. They're actively evaluating vendors. They want quotes and timelines and availability, and they will respond to calls to action like request a quote, talk to an expert. So again, don't make this mistake that so many industrial companies make. Don't just offer one type of way of getting people to take that next step to generate leads. Make sure that you're generating marketing qualified leads to nurture and build for long-term opportunities, and sales qualified leads for near-term business building opportunities. So the fix is to go through a sales alignment effort. You want to make sure that marketing is aligned with sales. And in my fractional chief marketing officer practice, this is one of the biggest challenges that we solve. We work with sales and we work with marketing, and we get them together and finally on the same page so that they can agree on what a qualified lead means. Both marketing and sales should have a common definition of what qualified means so that we can effectively classify a lead as either marketing qualified or sales qualified. Don't leave it open to interpretation. Too many times salespeople are just frustrated with marketing. You're sending us crap leads. What are we supposed to do with this? Marketing is saying, well, we're sending you great leads. Why aren't you following them up? It's because they haven't agreed on what qualified means. So go through this step so that you can make sure that you are sending the right leads to salespeople to get those new business opportunities. A lot of times, salespeople may be using a CRM system that is separate from what marketing is working with. Marketing may have an marketing automation system. You want to make sure that they are using a system that provides both. A CRM system will show the contact record, show the prospect, and marketing automation will automate the interactions that you have with leads on a regular basis. The value of having them both together is that when a salesperson goes and takes a look at a prospect's contact record, they can take a look at lead scoring. The lead scoring will show us how many different marketing assets or times did that prospect interact with your content. The more that they've engaged, the more that they've interacted with, the higher their score is. The high score will tell a salesperson which prospect to reach out to. Don't make your salespeople guess which prospects to contact. By applying lead scoring and having a great CRM tool that shows the engagement, you will allow your salespeople to be more effective and have more intelligent sales conversations and close more of those leads. Clarify the lead journey. Define what marketing nurtures and when sales engages. So you need to understand when is the appropriate time for marketing to continue that nurturing process and when should sales get involved. Think about it up front so that you can program that into your system. And then equip your salespeople with those helpful tools. Marketing assets, as I mentioned before, so that they can send out great content on a regular basis. Make sure they have a great tool. The tool that you see in place here is HubSpot. We recommend HubSpot in a lot of cases because it integrates that great marketing automation capability and lead scoring ability for your salespeople so that sales can go in and see what marketing has done, the various activities for each prospect. And then if marketing can go in and see the interactions that a salesperson has had with prospects. The more that marketing and sales are aligned, the better you will be at turning those leads that you're generating into closed new business to build your company. Very good. So that is how you can go about generating more leads to build a lead generation machine on your website without a redesign. This is how you can make sure that you're closing those leads. And the most important thing to do is to go through a process of understanding all the information that I just presented and doing something with this information. You've seen what works. I've gone through the best practices. Now it's time to take action. Information without action is just entertainment. And I know you did not tune in today for me to entertain you. you tuned in because you want to turn your website into a lead generation machine. So take advantage of the self-assessments in each section, take the next steps so that you can put these fixes into place. Now, a lot of times companies will say, how can you help, Bob? How does your team help an industrial company like mine turn my website into a lead generation machine and be more of a strong player so that I can generate more leads, sales, and profits? Well, we have two ways that we work with companies like yours, and we've been doing this for 30 years. First is we can serve as your virtual marketing team. We are your full service industrial marketing department for companies that may have a strong sales team but no marketing team. Let us serve as your team so that we can generate those leads for you, and we can do this for a fraction of the cost of hiring in-house. Or perhaps you already have a marketing department, or you have strategic challenges that you're trying to solve, and you're lacking the strategy and leadership. In those cases, we can serve as your fractional CMO, a part-time senior marketing leader that will help you grow without the cost of a full-time chief marketing officer. If you're interested in talking about either of these ways that we can help you, schedule a strategy call. No obligation. I will answer any of your specific questions related to the content we talked about here today and talk about ways that we could potentially help you get to these goals and achieve these goals much quicker. Take advantage of the strategy call to take that next step. And for now, I want to make sure that I address the key questions that you have about how you could turn your website into a lead generation machine. So I have some questions that you guys submitted during this presentation. If you haven't already and you have a question in your mind, please submit it in the Q&A and we will get these addressed. So let us see what we have here. Okay, what is the most common mistake you see on industrial websites? Well, it's a broad question. Honestly, I'd have to say it's the homepage. You have a homepage that may look great, but it doesn't clearly say what the company does or who it's for. Or perhaps the way that you're presenting content relies on people scrolling too much. That's just going to kill the trust. It's going to confuse people. It's not going to allow them to take that next step. So you want to make it easy for people to take that next step. So address your homepage to make it more engaging. Okay, another question here. Okay, we're not ready to do a full redesign of our website. Is it still worth doing what you talked about here today? Absolutely, and that's why I designed this webinar. This webinar is designed to provide you with ideas that you can implement to generate more leads that will not require a redesign. So go through that self-assessment, download these handouts, go through that process. There are some easy fixes that I guarantee will generate more leads for you. So go through that process. Next, if I can only fix one thing on our site, where should I start? Okay, if you can only focus on one thing, take a look at your calls to action. Are you offering calls to action that speak to the needs of prospects at every stage of the buying cycle? Are you just relying on your contact us page? If that's what you're doing, you are leaving money on the table. So you want to take advantage of the best practices that I talked about for presenting calls to action to take that next step. So I would address your calls to action by making them more obvious. You will generate more leads. Let's say your website is extremely dated and perhaps it's not easy for you to implement calls to action throughout the page, but it might be easy for you to implement little buttons here and there within your web page content. Take advantage of pop-up forms then. A nice short pop-up form when people click those buttons so that they can complete that form. It's not the best implementation, but if you have a page that's not easy for you to integrate calls to action, that's the best way to do it. Without a redesign. Okay, let's take a couple of more. Let's see. How long does it usually take to see results? Great question. We're all about results here. Some things will be immediate. If you present stronger calls to action throughout your website, you'll get more leads from your existing website traffic. It is a quick fix. By just making it easy, dangling the right carrots in front of people, you'll make it easy for them to take that next step. So you should have a strong positive impact on your lead generation within days or weeks in those cases. Other things may take a few months to build. If you're trying to get more traffic from search engines or from AI chatbots, um, those things will take some time, but focus on your calls to action. That is probably the quickest way for you to get a meaningful result in generating more leads. Okay, let's take one more. Uh, okay, what if we don't have any testimonials or case studies yet? Okay, if you don't have any, start small. Find your best customers. You have to have 3 to 5 people that you know are your best customers. Reach out to them and say, would you mind sharing a testimonial on what was the impact that we helped you make? How did your business change as a result of doing business with us? Start small, just get a basic quote. That's a great way to start. If you get that quote, you can then ask them if they'll film a video testimonial. You could turn that quote into a case study. If you do this on a regular basis, you will be able to get more leads and make your website more engaging by providing that social proof. Okay, very good. I am very, very careful with your time. We are here at the top of the hour, and I thank you for your engagement and thank you for all of your questions. If you have any questions after this webinar, I want you to please reach out to me. I am here to help you in any way to help you generate more leads, sales, and profits from results-focused industrial marketing. If you're looking for my help specifically, schedule the strategy call. It is not a sales call. I will provide you with actionable ideas on how you can turn your website into more of a lead generation machine. And if it makes sense for you, I'll talk about ways that we can help you. But the key idea is that you take action. You do something with the information that you learned here today so that you can generate more leads, sales, and profits. Thank you for your time. Looking forward to seeing you on a future industrial marketing masterclass, and have a great day.